Good. It's gone nice and quiet. Excellent. Right, good evening all. Thanks for tuning up. How many we've got so far? 14, that'll do. Turn that round. Nice photo on the front. Nick that during the week. Right, a good mate of Nick's and myself is Graham Barrett from Gloucester. Another good grower who can't make our Zoom sessions on a Sunday night. There's quite a few actually. Let's get a photo. As you can see there, this is down Malvern. I think this was this year, yeah. He's besides his normal growing, he does giant veg and long veg. So the giants are the top ones and the one on the right, and the long obviously. Well, it might be heavy on the bottom. But being a good egg, I asked him if he'd send me a dollop of seed, because I know he dishes these out. He does swaps with people in Europe and the UK, and he sent me these lot, 4 good dollops of seed. Heavyweight veg and long veg. This is UK or world record strain included. So if any of you lot, i.e. my Zoomers, fancy a few seeds, whatever, I'll show you in the, where am I? Right, this one. This one will come back on again at the end of the talk, meaning, have a quick nose now. There's long runner bean, giant bean, giant red cabbage, green cabbage, giant cauliflower, giant carrot, chili, Naga fire and Scotch bonnet, cucumber long, it's 36 and 34, cucumber giant, heavy Q, giant kohlrabi, long leek, mara, giant bell pepper, pumpkin, giant radish, got world record for that, and well, two lots giant radish, giant squash, giant green squash, giant tomato, giant turnip and giant swede. Now going through tonight, if you fancy having a go at any seeds, you can pick 2 out, and at the end again I'll put this up on again, and just come in, tell me what you want. I'll mark your name in, like if it was you, Suzanne, you wanted a carrot, giant carrot, I'll put your name in.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I have a giant carrot, please?
Yeah, it'll be at the end.
Alright, thank you.
Just so come in first at the end. So I'll just mark it off, first come, first serve, and then either tonight or tomorrow or during the week, then email me for my address, because you've got to send me a stamped addressed envelope, obviously, for the seed, and I'll bung them out to you. But let's go through them. There's also got a long chili seed, there's a few of them left, which aren't on there. So these are all the seeds that he has sent me. There aren't many in some of them, but he sent me 4 packets of them. Like the runners, I'll probably only send about 2 seeds out. So you might get only 3 seeds of some go, but it's good seed, so they should all come to something anyway. Right, so we'll do that later on. So have a think what you want from the end. Right, this is from last week, which was on about the tunnel and greenhouse fumigation. I think Nick bought it up, and I found this out in one of my drawers. I had this youngster, obviously from Wilco, but I should be trying that. This was from Lidl last week. I did put it on my own composting group, but not on here, and there was flogging the 30 quid for a leak vacuum and shredder, which was perfect, and that was 10:1 ratio. While I was down there, I also got a succulent and bunged them in the bathroom upstairs and downstairs. There's a hound. Is that well trained or willpower? I'd love to have bloody gone in there and ate that. Right, this was me last week. Leaves, one of nature's freebies. collect them. Superb stuff. One of my additions from my compost heap, or we can use it as a top dressing, because I've only got one bin now instead of the 6 down the plot. Whereas the 6 down the plot, I had 2 for leaf mould, 4 for compost. So I'm doing the leaves how I used to do them years ago. So this is a nice good area. In fact, nobody walks across it because there's only one way in, and that is the same way out as well. So as you can see, I've collected my piles up. It did rain the night before, which is perfect for me because I want wet leaves. Couple of holes in the bottom, I then squash all the air out. If there's any lumps in, obviously I'm going to take them out. Then I'm just to make sure. I've had a piddle because I wanted one. That's going on my waiting can again. Don't forget that's nitrogen, so that's the activator to break it down. So just in case some leaves have dried out from being in the bags overnight, I'll give them another good soaking. I'll then tie them up. Well, before I tie them up, I squash all the air out, and then I knot them. These lot are all ready. They will go up there, back of the shed, and at the end of the shed, this end, because that's where I've got a bit of space. So I'm utilising all the room I've got up and back garden now. So if you remember, that's where my runners have got to go. I've got to revamp them, put some drainage holes in later on, when I've got nothing to do. But if I go down there, I've got about 1.5 foot gap at the back of that shed, and it just goes to the width of that shed, but that is it. And that's it there. So there's my raised bed before the tunnel. So that space there, I called it soil with it. So that's where my bags are going. 2 in there, and then the others in. But I have got room for more bags, so that's 4 of them in there. So I shall be getting some more later on, and they'll be stacked on top of that as well. Don't forget, the smaller the leaf, the better. The quicker it's going to break down. You're going to have to try to get big leaves, shred it or chop it up in a bucket. You've got to make sure everyone's moist. Nick, you got your hand up, mate? Sorry I missed that.
That's all right. That was the question I was going to ask. I did some leaf mode last year, put it into a bucket and left it. I haven't covered it. But is it better to shred it, is it? Yeah. Yeah, cool.
The smaller the ingredients, the quicker the breakdown. It'll still break down with a large leaf, but obviously take longer. That's why I chop me compost ingredients up, break down quicker. So I should be getting some more later on as well. Now I know I've got the room in there to stack them up. Nick, this is a start of you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Our first guest speaker.
Just a 5-minute update really on the growth, on growing the giant onion. So although most people are ramping down now from growing over the winter, I'm ramping up as such. So this seed here is off the onion that I set to seed last year. It's £15.6, which the year before, obviously, in that was COVID lockdown. So seeds just starting to come through. At this stage now, they've been in for about 7 to 10 days at 16C. I don't believe in forcing seed with high temperatures. So they're just coming through now. Another few days and they'll be up through. When they get to the hook stage, you probably notice when onions hook, then they'll get potted on before the roots get too deep. They put down roots quite fast, onions, so you want to get them out and into 7 centimetre pots. That'll be in about another week. Next one, Mick. So these are the pips. The first lot of pips that I set to when I say germinate, set to come alive sort of the last week in September. You'll notice they look quite clean on the outside. So what I've done, and I do most years, is remove the outer skins. The outer skins, like a normal onion, you remove it before you cook it. It's the same as when you grow it, and then dry them off and that stops any bacterial breakdown, and also water from the bottom. So from now on, these will be all watered from the bottom. These are in in Levington's F2 plus sand, and they will be potted on probably in about another week or 10 days into a sort of a 10 to 12 centimetre pot. Next, mate. So these are the ones, pips, that were set away 2 weeks later. They're slightly smaller, and again cleaned off. So I've got quite a lot growing. I think there's about 22 of these. I chucked 3, 4, 5 out yesterday. They don't make the grade, basically. The smaller, or if they got less leaves, then they get binned. Okay, mate. So you can see these are out of tiny. When I say tiny, probably just small modules. You can see the roots, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for good, strong white roots, thick, very fibrous. So these have again an F2 plus sand, but they've also been given some liquid seaweed once a week, once every 10 days, and these will be potted on, as you'll see in a minute. Next, mate. So that's the pip. Now, just a little bit about pip. So a pip is basically a flower head on the head of the onion that hasn't pollinated. So you can do two things. You can either cut the seed off and it will produce pips, or naturally, you normally find when you get a big flower head on an onion, the bottom side of them, the bees can't get in to germinate. And again, so the soil you see there is a mixture of quite a strong soil. It's an M3, which has got enough nutrients in it. Now, that will have enough nutrients in it for the time it's sat in that pot. But if it was in a big pot, it'd have enough nutrients for about 12 to 16 weeks. But it's also diluted down with a seedling compost and also 25% vermiculite, which encourages root development, really. Next, Mick. So they're in the grow tent now. It's quite a small grow tent. This grow tent will probably last until Christmas, and then the grow tent goes twice the size, basically, as the plants get a lot bigger. There's 300 watt lights in there at the moment, which gives out about 24,000 lumens. So quite strong, quite expensive, and also some fans going on there, and a bit of vermiculite at the bottom, which and a bit later on I'll put some more vermiculite, keep that moist. But the key thing here is with growing anything over the winter is temperature, light, and air circulation. That's the most important three things you can do. So yeah, so it's a good bit of kit. That's a Vitapod at the bottom. It comes from Greenhouse Sensations. I know some of you growers have got them, but fantastic bit of kit. I know a lot of people make them themselves. They put in heating cables with sand and that sort of thing. But for ease, these are really good. They're 100 watts and they'll maintain temperatures to, if you had a greenhouse, call it, say, at -10, that would give you +10 in there, that bottom heat. But obviously I heat the greenhouse as well. Yeah, these are full spectrum lights. Like I said, they are expensive to run. And the outer material is a specialist on the inside of the tent, I should say. Black on the outside, this white material. It's a material called Orca, which is from the USA. It's about 40% more reflective than your normal mylar as you grow tents. That's why I use this material. It just gives you the edge. Very, very good, reflective. Works better than grow tents anyway, I find. Next one, Nick. And yeah, I think that's so these are some onions that I'm going to set to seed. In fact, a little bit of a story here. One of them, the one on the left, is getting sent away to a culture specialist in can't remember the name, but that's going away on Monday. So they're going to culture that, grow it, and hopefully they'll be able to. Not quite sure what they're going to be able to do, but they're telling me they can divide the cells and hopefully increase the weight on these onions over the next few years. And on the right there's just some lemongrass I've got growing over the winter, and some beans that I saved. I think that's it, Nick.
That first one you mentioned there on the left, have you got to pay for that, or is that a freebie?
No, it's all free. No, it's all free. So the only thing I got to pay for is got to post it. So yeah, it's completely free. So there's another grower called Nick Pengelly who's got a company called Just Seeds. You ever heard of them?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So it's another grower. I'm quite, when I say friendly, another grower. So he's growing some onions as well this year. So I'm helping him along, and he knows a few people. So he suggested it to me.
Yeah, brilliant.
So hopefully, and I'll be able to update you on that a bit further on in the sort of after Christmas to see how that's going.
Excellent.
So that was
Scott, sorry mate, you got your hand up, missed you.
That's all right. Are they LEDs, Nick?
Yeah, they are. They're full spectrum LEDs. They're about 4 or 5 years old now, but technology's advanced a little bit more now. But yeah, they're full spectrum LEDs.
Yeah, because I thought they were supposed to be cheaper to run, weren't they, LEDs?
Well, it's the same as anything. It depends the amount of watts of power you're drawing.
Okay.
You know, you could have 100. I always maintain the technology today is whatever. It's not about the cost. Well, it is about the cost, obviously, but whatever an LED, it will put out twice as much light as a T5 or a CFL, something like that, fluorescent.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you wanted 200 watt light, you'd only have to use 100 watts of energy. So I'm using 600 watts, and I'm getting 1200 watts of light. But it's all about the lumens.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Nick.
And that's the so what I'm growing, the pips that you saw at the beginning. That's where it came from originally.
Wow.
So that should, in theory, the pips are genetically, they should be exactly this, because they've had no pollination. They should be exactly the same genetics of that onion. So it should produce, if you grow it rightly, it should produce the 15.5 pound onion.
Yeah.
Or bigger.
It's a lot of DNA in it.
It is, exactly. It's DNA. Well, it could be a lot smaller if you don't grow very well. I think the next one is this. And that's, so the first one, the one before this picture was 14.6, and that's 15.6. And the 15.6 here is the one that I got the pips and seed off. The 14.6 rotted during the winter. They're quite difficult to keep. Small onions are fairly easy to keep because basically the water content is in proportion it's the same, but it's a lot smaller. They harden up, whereas the big ones are really difficult. But hopefully next year I'll be at Harrogate with the winning onion, I hope.
Good man, good man.
Thank you.
Anybody got any questions for Nick while we got hold of him? No? Good. Cheers for that, Nick.
Cheers, thank you.
Right, this is covering my raised beds, obviously off the back garden. This is a porous weed suppressant. That's what I used to use down the plot. Obviously, if it rains, it goes straight through. Wilco. Why? Because I've covered all my beds with rabbit muck. What do dogs like eating? Rabbit muck. And chasing squirrels. Another one we found out. So I'm going to peg all these out. I've cut them all up, measured them out. The hound's just making a bed in between. Look at that, button wouldn't well. So I measured these out as well, put them all out ready. I'm covering the bloody lot, as we can see there. So them lots are done and pegged in. Stop the wind blowing the tops off as well, because I ain't got enough wire mesh to weigh them all down. So I've pegged them in. We'll run out of pegs later on, but we'll cover that in a bit. Them two outside the patio are done as well. Still collecting nettles. I've done this again this morning. Obviously the ones that ain't good to seed. Right, my compost bin. Now I've put his winter coat on. Obviously on the back garden again. I've got to now slice an opening in there so I can lift my little flap up when I need compost. So a good blade from a Stanley knife, sliced straight down, because this is thick carpet, it's going to be hard to cut through. Now I can just lift that up and get my door off. So just make sure I can get it out. I ain't going to take that up anymore, I cut it up anymore. You can see the worms are working away, so them are nice and happy, that's still in there, and and that's what I want to see. But I think I've got 2 more beds to top dress, and then that's it then. The rest what's in here can start brewing away. You'll see me carpet lid, because I've took quite a bit out of this bin to top dress the raised bed so far where I've found them. So that's all I've got in my bin so far. But obviously that gets stuff put in every week. If I do run out of stuff, i.e. now I have got allotment, I haven't got so much green waste from the plot obviously, and if I need more green waste I should just go down our Zoe and go around the back of the fruit shop, and they're going to skip out there where they throw all the crap. I'll just leg it in there and take stuff out. So I've just got a quick fork out there, and that's what I want to see, full of worms, and I'm doing for everything. Right, Nigel, our second guest speaker tonight. Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, no worries. Evening, everybody.
Good man.
Right, so I promised a couple of weeks ago just to show you how I go around sort of harvesting my corms and getting them ready for the winter. So we had a few slides earlier on in the year of stuff growing in pots. This is the shape of the pot. You can just see at the top of the slide the edge of where the compost finishes. So the pot was tipped up, and this is what we want to see. Nice big fat corm ready for next year, and that'll give us some decent flowers next year. So that's what it's like when it's taken out of the soil, or the compost, should I say. 1 or 2 little babies on there ready for they'll get planted next year to repeat the process. But a lovely big fat corm, nice and deep, and as I say, that should give us a good flower next year. It's easy doing them in pots. You can just tip the pot upside down and knock them out. If you're doing them if you're growing your glads in the soil, just stick a fork underneath them and gently ease them out so that you don't lose too many of the little ones. So just to give you an idea of what the size is, there's my favourite tool, my Felco secateurs, and you can see from the size of the blade there how big the corm is. So it's probably a good 1.5 inches across and about 1 inch deep. That'll give a fantastic flower next year. I'm interested on seeing this one. It's it's a variety that's been bred by one of my friends who he did live in Bolton, but he's now moved to Cheshire. He's named it Gambling Man, and he thinks it's a giant flowered one. Well, I grew it last year and I thought it was a medium flowered one. So we'll probably settle somewhere in between, but it was good enough for me to save the cormlets off it last year and grow them on this time. So I'm well happy with how that's performed. There's loads and loads of cormlets on there, as you can see. They'll go into pots next spring and be grown on to produce even more of it. Thanks, Nick. So as you can see can we just go back one, Mick?
Yeah.
Thanks. So as you can see there, I've taken all the leaves off right down to the shoulder of the corm. No point leaving the leaves on. Once it's out of the ground, there's no goodness going back into it. It's just a vector for the disease and pests and things. So cut the leaves off, straight down onto the shoulder, then you can start thinking about drying them off. Okay, Nick? So that's what it looks like underneath. You've got the old corm, which is the shriveled up bit in the middle. So you can see how big that started from and how big a corm it's made. And that's what we're looking for really, is a smallest root scar when that's removed. So a couple of weeks drying in front of a radiator or in a greenhouse if the sun's out and things like that. And it should just twist away and leave a nice clean root scar. Okay, Nick? And that's what you're looking for. So it's just twisted away, nice clean base, and that's what you're looking for. If you get down your garden centres and you get the chance to sort of get your hands on gladiolite forms, they're the ones to look for. You need the sort of small, the proportion between the root scar and the corm. So you need a root scar that's very small in proportion to the size of the corm. That means it's nice, it's young, it's full of vigour. All that fleshy bit is full of goodness for growing and feeding them next year. So that will give you what you need to get a really decent flower. And if it has been, if it is a variety that you like and you want to propagate yourself, there on the right hand side you've got the corm nuts again that will produce corms through to the mother plant. So you've got a stock for future years, which, as we've said over the past few weeks, with the demise of the two main UK corn suppliers, is going to be a bit of a critical issue. So you know, if you get the chance, grow a few on yourself. Thanks, Mick. So that's what they looked like at the start of, or not at the start of the season, in the middle of the season really. So you know, they've all been grown in these 30-litre pots. I think it's probably, apart from an odd new variety that's come out, it's probably about 4 or 5 years since I actually bought any corms myself from anybody. And I do all mine like this now. Some produce really good flowering size corms, like we've seen on the previous slides. Some will want another 12 months to make them, you know, up to full size. But I think doing it this way is a good idea, and I really enjoy it. I think probably one of the highlights of the year for me is tipping these pots out and seeing what I've actually managed to produce. To get them up to that sort of size, all they've had is just water when they've needed it. 2 or 3 dressings of Grow More throughout the season. The growing season for them is sort of March through to the end of September really. So they've had 3 or 4 dressings of Grow More, and then I say water when they needed it. And I've got a bag of sheep muck hanging in my water butt, so that's making a bit of a liquid feed. So when I'm watering them, they are getting the liquid feed at the same time as well. So that helps them along. On the previous talks I've done about lads, I've said don't give them too much nitrogen fertiliser, because it makes them a bit sort of soft in the tissue, and once the flower comes, it can weaken the tissues and they can fall over. But when you're growing them like this from the cormlets, just to get the bulb, as much water and as much feed as you want to put at them, and they'll take it. All you're aiming to do here is not produce a flower, produce a bulb for next year. So I'd say that's what we look sort of like close up. Yeah, Scarlet Perfection, that's an old Primulina start one, but as you can see, they've got some really good leaves on them, and they're doing really well. I say that the previous slide was the 30-litre pots, but if you've not got many to do, these pots I've got there, these are 10-litre pots that you can scrounge off Morrison's and places like that, Sainsbury's, especially round about sort of Mother's Day and that type of date, when they've got a lot of flowers in the shop, because all we do is basically stand them in them and then chuck the pots away. So you can usually pick them up for about 10 pence each, something like that. Quite good value. Thanks, Mick. And that's me done. That's it.
Lovely, excellent, Nigel.
No worries.
Anybody got any questions for it, Nigel? To the Nigel, you've got your hand up.
Hello, Nigel.
Evening, mate.
Just a quickie. When you went about planting the bulbils up in the spring,
Yeah.
do you plant them as a group in a fairly decent sized pot, or do you do them individually?
What I usually do is, as I said, I've got some 30-litre tree pots. Because I work for myself as a maintenance gardener, I quite often get asked to sort of, you know, can you plant me some big laurel bushes or something like that. So every time I do that, I save the 30-litre tree pot that the plant's grown in, which obviously holds 30 litres of compost, and I'll stick about a dozen largish cormlets in that pot. Spread them about 2 inches apart, about 2 inches deep, and that will, say, give me a dozen per pot. So just plant them individually, like you would if you were starting off a pot of sweet pea seeds, or something like that. Just plant them out individually around the edge of the pot, or just space them out a bit, and away they'll go.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Lovely, cheers and Nigel.
Okay, mate, no worries.
Austin. Right, let's go to the old up and under. $22 entries.
Paul.
Paul, you've trod in it again, mate. Oh, sorry. Whoa. Cathones. Kath, did you get it last week? I can't remember. Right, let's get going. Right, this is my talk I did last Tuesday. This was down Morden Garden Association in Hereford. I'll give them a practical gardening demo on veg, raised beds, no dig, everything. It's a talk I used to do at BBC Gardens Wildlife. I kept all my bits, luckily, so I could get away with it here. Because of COVID and everything, this was the first gardening talk, as quite a few I'm doing now. It's the first one I've done. But their venue is still out of bounds, in the sense it's shut. So they asked if they could use their cafe, which they have done. That's why the talk was from 3 till 5, meaning everybody coming in for dinner has cleared off, so we got the area itself free. While I was there, obviously every talk I go to, you have to get there early just in case there's traffic or whatever. So once I have got there, I either set up if I can get away with it, or I have a nose round just past time. And looking at the stuff here, this is all this compost is peat free. These are 20 litre bags, £4.5 for a 20 litre bag. That's how much the price is going up. That's why I got 4 pallets of compost last week. And these are peat free again, either £7 a bag or 2 for £12. So these are £6, £6 a bag, and these are only 40 litre. And there was a bag split open, and I took a photo of that, and it is crap again. But for some reason the bloody photo didn't come out. And Stevie mentioned elephant garlic. I couldn't get that last week. I think you sorted him out, didn't you, Nigel? Muddy boots. Yeah, if he hadn't have done, I bought a bag of elephant garlic and sent that to him.
Yeah.
He ain't obviously on tonight, or otherwise he'd have come in by now.
He's on.
Sorry?
I think he's on, Mickey.
Is he? Don't know.
Yeah, I sent him a link as well for some on eBay, and he bought them.
Yeah, Muddy Boots sent you some in the post.
I think his microphone's broken.
Oh. But walking around their stuff, their fruit trees, which are these here, they got some brilliant stuff. Well, obviously, Hereford, it's the place to do, isn't it? I can get away with it. They're a tenner each or 2 for £18. And looking at these, where's this one? They got a normal Tayberry, Loganberry. I've done either of them. And that one then, which I'd never seen before, Boysenberry. And I've googled it, and it's a cross between a Loganberry, blackberry, and a raspberry. If I'd googled it at the time, if that would have been fruiting, i.e. end of August, early September, I'd have had one of them. But I never bloody clicked on, did I? Because I was excited. And that was inside the cafe area itself. Obviously, it was all up this end, all the garden club. So I was up that corner. I got all my gumph out there ready to do the practical demo. Obviously working from that end, going up. Talking through my compost from start to finish, and then onto compost teas, then the raised beds and no digging and everything. And the gaffer of the place did let me bring my stuff into flog, because originally I'd only got permission to bring my book in, because they might flog this stuff in the shop, and I'd embarrass them because my stuff's half the price. But the gaffer war there, and then when she was in charge, says as long as you sell it to these lot and none of the public, you can do what you want. So luckily that's what I did. Like everything else, anywhere else I do, or any garden club I go to, I always check me freebie raffle prizes for them, garden related. So there's my spent coffee grounds, and there's my bottle of piddle. Obviously I talked through that. Nitrogen, if it's nice and clear, you're fit and healthy. If it isn't, go and see the vet, and I put that in the raffle for them. Not on bloody at it, I just take it, bring it back up, that'll do. And if you can just see behind my bottle of piddle, there's a small bottle of liquid fish and charge for the raffle as well. But it was a good afternoon. They enjoyed it, and I did. They dipped in the sense, because obviously if there's talk on a night, it's just one talk, and all my talks are about hour and a half. I think hour and a half the longest one, but I'm all over an hour anyway. So this one, I was there about hour and 40 minutes talking non-stop. So they dipped in the sense, because it's 50 quid a talk plus fuel, and that was 85 quid for that. So they had a good sesh out of me, but it was good. And my next talk, which is tomorrow, this is in Welshpool, anybody who's local. This is a Gillsfield Old School. It is a free entry if anybody's interested. So if you are interested, you can either, if you can't remember that, just email me and I'll send you a link. But that's free to get in. Right, back up the garden, still deadheading, cutting back or whatever. These are the Delphiniums. Right, there's one there I've just jobbed. Let's zoom in on him. So my Delphinium, when the first lot of flowers die off, and then I cut off, there's the old stem there, so there's one there, a couple over here. So my green stems, that's what I've just cut off now. So it's still 2 or 3 inches above ground level, so I know that plant is there. Because to cut him right back to ground level, I forget where he was if I ain't got a marker in. But that is my A to memory. Don't plant anything else near to him. There's a better close-up. I've got another one on. So that's the old stems original. And he's just had another feed as well, exactly the same with cutting back the first one. Because I've just cut his bloody arms off, or his head, whatever. I don't want to give him a shock, so I'll just give him a feed just to pick him up a bit. And this little chap here, there's no new flowering growth on them as well, so he'll get chopped as well as he's there. And it's just deadheading all the way up, even the old geraniums. Obviously these will keep carry on because I'm throwing new growth, as you can see there. So if you do the dead, he will take over. So the old ones go straight in the compost bin. Until we get a good frost, they will carry on. And I think we've had 2 cold nights now. They will come. Right, to the side is still opening them there, Delphinium. Plus these, I don't think these will come to anything. I'll give him another feed just in case. He is, but he's a bit late to open up now. He was the first one to open, and he's the strongest. He's still going, but he's a stronger plant than these two, a bit thicker. So that will come out as well in the middle, which we've took him off there. The stake which I've got in, it'll be kept in ready for next year. So I've taken that's the one on the bottom, which was there. Now we're going to job this one here, except I've got to go back on that one. I've got to be careful here because this chap is growing in between him, growing through it. So I've got to watch what I'm cutting off, as you can see there. So I'm going down here where I know there's nothing. I'll start cutting there, then go down further again, as we've done there. If you've got a good eyesight, there's my little mate. Saves me putting slug pellets down. Well, I don't put slug pellets down anyway because of the hound. but he looks after my garden. Right, these lot will be going in the greenhouse now, because we have had, as I mentioned, a couple of cold nights. I don't want them to get jobbing. Spud wine, I've got him down from the bedroom, and he is nice and clear, and he's stopped bubbling. Put a marker on with a felt pen. He's been like that for 2 days. It hasn't moved at all, so I know he's ready for bottling. Not having time yet. I should be doing him next week. This is our third guest inputter. Jeffrey sent me these. I need to talk through them. But this is photos he sent me, and these was a pumpkin festival in Dallas, Texas. But obviously, in the States and whatever, they do things better than us. But it must be great for the kids to walk around for some of these. I mean, look at that. I don't know whether they open these up so the kids can't go in. I doubt it. Probably all fenced in. But it's impressive. Even in in between the flower beds. I think it's an arboretum.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. It would be great for the kids. And obviously the spares there, so they dish them out to the kids after, whatever. But it is good. It takes some doing and all. But it's good with the border of bales of straw as well. Sets it off perfectly. Obviously, natural thing. And a bit of colour in between. Perfect. Another king. Right, banana and snip wine. I haven't done this for a couple of years now, but it's marked down as one of my best. I think I put this in, well, I put them in every year. But I did get best exhibit out of wine with it, so it is a good one. So I'm starting again. Bananas, obviously, and your snips, and the sugar. Don't forget all my sugar, and I put in there with Demerara sugar. Starting off little. Your parsnips and your bananas are half the price you get anywhere else. That's why I got a little, and the Demerara sugar. Right, slicing these, I top and tail them. Them lot will go in the compost. I slice these with a small sharp knife. The more edges you've got, i.e. more breakdown you're going to have anything. If there's any crap or discoloration on the shoulders, then I'll take that off. I don't want nothing in there that will send anything rotten. These morning pots are perfect. I use this for all my wine. Just about get them in, as you can see there. And this is brought to the boil, then simmered until obviously slow cooking. So the skins, you can either bung them in with my greens, my caddy which I got in the kitchen, ready for the compost Monday morning. And then tops and tails, then will go in there as well. Or you can keep your banana peels for something later on, which we'll come on to. Exactly the game again. The more sides you got, the quicker the breakdown once it gets in there, and the yeast gets on it. Top it and tail in again, exactly the same. Just in case there's any rubbish on the end of them. So them will all get put up that end, and these lot will be sliced and bunged in my bucket. And now these are nice and clean. So that's simmering away nicely. That's all my leftovers. What I've done is put some rainwater in, not tap water, and this will be left for a day, and that'll be a feed, which we'll come on to later on. Once it has been simmering for a while, i.e. cooked, then it is drained onto me banana slices. Just going back on that one, I thought about this and I thought, well, that's just like normal cooking, so I'm going to keep them and utilise them. Sugar, that gets weighed out, obviously £3 there, and that gets bunged in straight away, meaning that is still nice and warm, meaning stirring, that should dissolve after about 4 minutes stirring. You gotta dissolve all the sugar. That way you'll get more of a kick out of the wine when it starts fermenting. Other bits and things going in: citric acid, 15 gram. This is what I use when judging veg, i.e. the small 8.8 ounce onions. So these scales are ideal for that. So they're good for me with small measurements. But you can get these scales now about £6 from Shep. I think that was a pinch of tannin that was going in as well. Yeah, the pectic enzyme, yeast nutrient, and as you can see there, the wine yeast. World Goals, I've been using them now for a few years. They're as good as anything. You're only paying for the name at the end of the day. I think it was 4 drops of pectic enzyme. And then my yeast nutrient. And then my yeast is put on top. This is now left in a warmish place. This is our bedroom, obviously. Mrs. keeps this side. That won't bubble, so that'll please them. It's when these are bubbling away in weeks or. But you've got to watch with this lid that it is not on flush. You've got to let a bit of air in there. If it is, well, it won't be tightly shut if that lid is down. You still get a bit of air in, but you've got to let enough in so that top doesn't start going mouldy. So just remember that if you do it. And majority of me snips went in with my banana peels in the compost heap. The worms love it. And then a good dollop of the parsnips, made them for tea and all. Because they've only been cooked, they've only been simmered, so I'm going to eat them. I suppose I could have froze a few as well, except the bloody freezer's full. Right, Peace Lily. I had this a couple of months ago, and I was just looking at this chap. Now that was an old flower, i.e. like him, and when he died off, obviously when he dies off and starts drooping, I've just cut him off as I've done there. So that's an old flower stalk, and I looked at him, I thought, well, he dried off quick, and just to try him, I just tried pulling him, and he pulled straight out, clean as whistle. That was the end of it. I thought, Gordon Bennett. So pulling him straight out, that should now, if my brain is working right, encourage this to throw more flowers. It's like deadheading it really. Although I've cut his head off, I'm still pulling that out as well. There's these little things on the side here, whatever they were, I don't know. If the plant survives, we'll see what happens anyway. Right, this is next morning. So this has been ferreting for 12 hours. So all the house plants get a nice feed. Don't forget, this is a potash or potassium. And the next day as well, looking at me brew, it started having a kickstart, and that was took 2 days after, and you can see where the wine yeast is kicking in now, and that's really started going. This has got to be left for 10 days, and then we go into the next part of it where you throw it into a demi jar. So we'll cover that next week. Right, back to the mob. This was on HMS Tartar. This was West Indies, 1975. Then we had a navy. Now they got bloody much. Meaning they used to send ships out, especially frigates, which is an ideal size, i.e. all the small islands, or most places, could accommodate a frigate. If they couldn't, i.e. the jetty, berthing port wasn't too big, then we'd anchor out and they'd still look after us. Because we're flying the flag, i.e. for the UK, don't forget there's loads of Commonwealth countries still about, and we have to show that the flag and do a bit for them. We have working parties go to the, if them run down anything, we look into it before we go anywhere, like Dominican Republic. Just do work for them if that need doing. But went to about 28 different countries just in the West Indies, and we did a full stint there, full tour, which was good. Escorting the Queen on the Royal Yacht, did that to Mexico, plus other jobs. Different countries, we had their dignitaries on board, and we do a sea cat shoot, which is a missile shoot, or show them the helicopter which we carry. Just doing different things. We exercise in between going to different islands. We should have been relieved by another frigate at the end of our tour, which was a year and a half, which was brilliant. But luckily for us, the frigate they sent out, it conked out, so we had to do another tour to save the married blokes' wives throwing a fit. They flew all the wives out to keep the peace, meaning we did another full tour. Perfect. Let's have a look at that one. This one was here. This was Freeport Bahamas. Because we used to get paid fortnightly, usually the second week you've run out of money, you're waiting to be paid. So we was berthed alongside Freeport. This was the jetty bar. As you can see, it is dark, and this is the start of a sesh with just us lot there. So he got a few records which he bought there. He got his player, we got the plonk, and that's how we ended up. That was a quiet run ashore. Perks. Right, this was Chagarams village in Trinidad. Sorry, this is still in Freeport. No, Antigua. First week in Antigua, because these shirts, the local flour mill, this is what the sacks, the flour comes in the sacks. So the locals, when the sacks are empty, they make shirts and that's out of them, and they flog them to us, which is perfect because it's boiling hot on a night, and these are lightweight, and they're open, they're not tucked in, they're open on the neck, and they're perfect. But as you can see, we all wear desert boots, or as we call them, brothel creepers, because you can come out of a brothel at 5 in the morning and nobody can hear you, because your feet aren't squeaking, you're not wearing new leather shoes. Right, things we used to get up to in the West Indies.
1, 2.
Things we used to get in the Indies was the Zulu warrior, meaning we used to get on the table when we was drunk, if we can get away with it, which is quite a few places, because the tourists and the locals loved it.
How long are you in for, Mick?
12 here.
Okay.
We used to do the Zulu warrior, meaning you strip off on the middle of the table, and once you've finished, everybody would throw you the drink over you, and you'd be christened Zulu chief. You can't really do that pubs in the UK, but you could get away. The nearest thing now was a full Monty, so I did the full Monty a few times. And this one here, this was my 60th retirement. Save getting entertainment in, I did it myself. These two was a couple of teachers from Caslon Primary School. She run the kids football team with me. I took them for yonks, but they was my helpers. This was lads on the Tartar. He was radar. He was a GI gunner instructor. He was a gunner as well, same as myself. He was radar. He was a chef. Bob Trim, it was his birthday. It was his wedding. This was down the Union Jack Club in London. Because I've got to behave myself down there. I'd had a few beers, so I just had a dance with his missus.
Mick.
I take that everywhere. And the missus says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm just going for a piddle." Obviously, I've got to get changed. And I stripped off, come out there. I was bloody curled up. Well, they get thrown out. And that was doing the weights challenge. That was a few years ago. But Aaron did that, and he had a bucket of iced water. But he did it slow, and oh gee, I couldn't stand up to run away because my toggling too would have jumped out. But that was bloody cold. Right, back up the garden. Tunnel back garden. I've got a top dress this. That side there. Let's get it on there. I've built that side up. As you can see, there's clear, thick plastic sheeting. That end I've got a bit to build up, but this is just about level there. So I've got to raise that side so I can put more stuff in here. Oh, it's a good fill in my raised beds anyway, but I just want to raise that side. So what I'm going to do is get the fork right underneath and lift these curbs. As you can see, I've got a bit of space there to lift her. So I'm lifting that one. He's about 1.5 inches above that one. See better there. Just away slowly. So that's him raised. Now I've got to raise that one and the rest of them, hand permitting, and that's how I've got it done there. So I'm getting another 2 inches at least of brew or good growing medium in there, all natural products, meaning they're going to break down, and that's a view from the outside as well. I shall be doing that next week once I've got time. Right, mentioned earlier on that the hound likes eating rabbit muck, which is on these, so I've got to cover these as well. Mentioned I did the large beds before, and the missus found her nicking some off there, so I've cut these to size. I'll cover them too as well. These are doing well, the blackberries. I want 3 from each plant going up there, which I know I've got. Right, looking close into that one there. This is growing away, then all of a sudden he just, whatever jobbed it, or for whatever reason, God knows, but he just stopped growing and sealed himself. But that was a side shoot which come off, obviously. But he is now going into the brickwork, so I've got to look after him. So I'll put a bit of cover behind him, so it is a bit smoother for him to go up. I mean, eventually when he's got another inch on him, then I'll persuade it with a bit of string to come out of it. But that's just looking after him. And there's another one that's died off, God knows why, but there's always something. Right, this one will be next, me blueberry. So a good bit of muck on him. Don't forget it, my rabbit muck, which I like anyway, because it's straw plus me muck. Right, I'm running out of me 10 pegs. Wilco I got none, Tesco I got none, wrong time of the year. So I've got no choice, I need some, so it's eBay again. But for now I'm just using small canes, and I've got cane caps on them. So them, like as you can see there, I'm just not going to poke my eye out anyway. It's all the back pegs I'm taking out of there and just replacing with these. So then I can utilise them pegs on these. My 2 goose gogs, them are getting covered as well. Don't forget these are porous, which is perfect. And that one there, which is oversized, because I can overlap them, and that's the other one, that's to the side. So my goose gogs are done as well. I've been down the back here to cut this edge because there's nobody living next door. It's a bit of a humdinger. I don't know what's happening with the bloody house. But all the growth that comes over from the privet edge, I'm cutting back. I.e. it stops the sun, shade and whatever. And I don't want all the crap over here. So I just get up there as high as I can. And I've managed to do it. That's looking down the side of it. So I've got nice space now. And it's not keeping light from this raised bed as well. That's looking from down the garden, looking up like that lot was all over here. So now I just keep it jobbed. It's a lovely big house next door. It's a state of the garden now. But it's a detached house. But I ain't saying it's a no. This is our committee meeting last Thursday, getting ready for our presentation night next Thursday. Obviously the committee meeting had finished, so it was then into entertainment. And I think it was who bought this jar in, Paul?
Mandy. Mandy.
It's pickled eggs, but I pickled them in garlic.
There was
chili,
pickled onions, chilies and garlic.
Sorry, pickled onions, chilies and garlic. Oh.
That was really nice.
So our volunteer, obviously,
Me,
had to try them out.
chief chili taster.
Going back on that one.
You like torturing yourself, Paul?
Yes. He bought these 3 in as well. I should have pointed them out earlier on.
Dorset Naga yellow. They're meant to be orange, but them yellow. That's one I had last Sunday.
That was the next thing. And Laura. Yeah, well, at about 3/4 of that.
And you
I
had
tell you
Les
what,
Mick.
you're better people than me.
You had Les Mick, did. He was crying like a big baby.
Mark tried it as well.
Yeah, he was brave, man. And he was crying like a big squealy pig.
I had about half on it.
He's off of it. You had a tip.
Get out of it.
Nick, he was crying like a big baby.
This was an hour later.
His
I
eyes
was
were running.
weeping from both ends.
And he had ring sting next day.
This is our local paper shops here where I go in the morning for our papers. I'm relaying all the gas pipes. This gas piping, 64mm. That's what I used, the offcut of that, when I did my tunnel up the back of the garden. So I had 2 scaffolding poles.
How many millimetre pipe is that?
Sorry?
What millimetre pipe is that?
64mm.
64.
Yeah.
Okay.
It fits perfectly over a scaffolding pole. That's what I've got up the back garden.
Thank you.
So if my tunnel flies away, the bloody house will go with it as well. But I'm just asking for offcuts, because anything that they'll use gets put in the bin. But you can get it off eBay.
What, the pipe?
Yep.
Gas pipe, is it?
Oh, yeah. Yellow's gas, blue's water.
Yeah.
Lots gone missing off this stage. Gas pipe.
And it fits the standard scaffold pole, does it?
Yep. Right, Darren Rudge was the last speaker we had. If you remember, he gave us some ins and outs. The first one, or the next one, I should say for you. Aspirin. Simple water, dissolvable aspirin. 1 tablet into a pint of water can feed your sickly houseplants for up to a month. So that's your aspirin. Good for us as well. Quite a few people take aspirin today.
Yeah.
Epsom salts. We know that's good. Using Epsom salts in garden is not a new concept. This best kept secret has been around for many generations. Epsom salts aid to improve flower blooming and enhances a plant's green colour. It can even help plants grow bushier. Epsom salts is made of hydrolyzed magnesium sulfate, magnesium and sulfur, which is important to healthy plant growth. Most plants can be misted with a solution, 2 tablespoons of Epsom salts per gallon of water once a month. More frequent watering every other week, cut this back to 1 tablespoon. With roses, you can apply a fertiliser, a foliar spray 1 tablespoon per gallon of water for each foot of the shrub height. Applying in spring as leaves appear, then again after flowering. For tomatoes and peppers, apply 1 tablespoon of salt granules around each transplant or spray. 1 tablespoon per gallon. During transplanting again following the first bloom, first set. Also with the Epsom salts, all my fruit trees, they have a fistful 3 times a year. Just throw it at the base of the tree. So that's another good one. Obviously Epsom salts come from Epsom. Right, engineers here, these are going to go out. Now I've got a bit of space in the garden, so there's a little chap going out there. Just about make him out. I think I put 3 one side and 3 the other. There's another chap there. So these are going in here where I've got my spaces. So anything that needs deadheading, that's what I'm doing. I'm just clearing up basically, making it a bit tidier. And also the base there, I'm pulling the grass through and cutting off with sharp scissors, which you can see there. So it looks nice and trimmed. It's just opening everything up. If the sun's out, I have to put my old towel down for her, and they'll stay there in the sun. Happy as a pig in. Put the grass again. When it does, we get a nice sunny day, even if it's a bit of wind, that will dry the lawn. And if it is dry, then I'm going to cut it. It's still growing. So I will do it. Right, I should be getting me grapevine soon, which is going in the end of the tunnel. Obviously it's got to go in outside, come under. So what I'm going to do here, I'm now going to have a look at this lot. So we're getting a bit closer, which is there. Luckily I can't remember, but when I did that backfill, I elevated it. There's a piece which has gone in there, and as you can see, is overlapped this one, meaning I should be able to take that one out easier now and leave them to ends in. So I'm going to take this lot out, which I've done there. I've got netting which is into the top of the first bit of woodwork on the top. This is plastic coated, meaning it ain't going to rot. And as you can see, I just shoved it right down, and the weight of the soil or the growing medium, this lot, kept it nice and taut. So now I can cut down the middle of there, lift that back, which we'll see on that one. I've just lifted that side up, but Rushing wanted to have a look as well, but you can make it out. So the next lot, I shall cut him right up to that first bit of timber, so I can lift this straight out, and then I've got to get that out, which will be next week, ready for when he does come. Because what I want to do, it's going to be hard to get to it at the back there, so I'm going to get all this out from inside, so I can still plant from inside the tunnel, but it will be outside, the roots will be outside, if that makes sense. So I should be doing him next week and all.
Oh, look at her.
Look at her little face. Right, people who I've promised corms to, when I've sorted them out, I still ain't had time to go through. But when I do, I'll tell you what corms I haven't got spare. Then you can message me them, tell me what you want. Right, Saturday down the shed, I owed Paul a favour, so I'll give him a bottle of damson and a banana wine. That was a thank you. Mark had made these, luckily. He borrowed some wood. Borrowed it from a kid's bonfire. They won't need it. We need the trestles, so I'll just quick rasp down the sides and then a bit of sandpaper rubbing them down. Luckily it was a cold day but dry, so we got them ferreted. Then lot was thrown in the back of the van, and I took them up to our shed, which we got on the premises of Craigstown Football Club. So them are all ready. I think we've got another 6 to do, something like that.
8 more, Mick.
8 more, is it?
Yeah, 8 more, I think.
Good man. Right, that's it, people. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Those of you who want these. So, Suzanne. Who we got next week? Nigel, can you give us input for next week, mate? Plus the cod war I'll be covering. Right, Suzanne, what did you say you wanted?
I think it was the where is it? Giant carrots.
Giant carrot. Is that it?
Yep.
Right, anybody else want any seed?
Mick,
Yes.
can I have a giant green cabbage and a giant red cabbage? I'm not bothered about 12 of each.
Hang on.
There's only 3 of each, isn't it? Yeah. If that's all right.
Giant green cabbage and giant red.
Yes, please.
Tim Bosworth. Don't forget, email me either tonight or tomorrow during the week. Just reminding me again what you want.
Okay, doke.
Just send me a stamped address envelope. Because I'm just putting your initials down. We've got 2 people to send initials.
Mick, did I ask you for any calls? I can't remember.
I've got to find out what I've got. I've got to go through.
Yeah, because I can't remember whether I asked for some or not. But if I didn't, let us know what you've got left.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, I'll be ready for next.
I can help out if you run out. Mick. I got one of those packs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good man. Right. Anybody else want any seeds or beans?
Well, the pumpkin, Mick, put you down for pumpkin as well. I'll have a whack at a big pumpkin.
Okay, right.
Hope you got a big growing area.
Yeah, I have.
Right, anybody else?
Yeah, I have some long runner beans if I may, Mick, please.
Roland. Long runner bean. Anything else, Roll?
No, I've got quite a lot of the other stuff, to be honest.
Okay, mate.
The giant carrot that Marcus, whatever his name is, he don't do much now, does he? Was done with Marcus's seeds.
Oh.
I've got plenty of them. No, I'm okay above that, Mick. Let somebody else have some.
Okay, mate.
Steve Chambers has put on the chat. Can he have some giant green cabbage? He's got a giant green carrot. So I'm assuming he means giant green cabbage and carrots. And runner beans, please.
Been quiet tonight, eh, Sue?
Oh, me?
No, I mean...
Is Mike here working?
Yeah, thank God.
What was that last one for Steve?
For Steve, it was giant green cabbage, carrots,
Yeah.
and runner beans.
Long runner bean.
So he's just put runner beans. So I'm
Suzanne,
assuming it's... Yeah?
seen any cake up? You seen any cake up to the West Midlands? Looked nice.
It did, didn't it? Yeah, it was
I
bloody
like cake.
30. That was 30 quid, that cake.
Not that bad, to be honest.
From Ocado, but I made the cookie.
That's not
The
bad.
cookie was 9 inches across.
It's lovely.
So,
Right, anybody else want anything
nice.
off this list?
No, thank you.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
I think didn't you win last week on the worm wheel?
Sorry?
Didn't you win the worm wheel last week? Was it last
Yeah,
week?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody else want nothing seed-wise?
Look at that phenomenal glass, Mick.
Hey?
Look at the logo on the glass. An olden days.
Thanks, is all.
Steve's just said long runner beans and the other runner beans, please,
Good.
on his chat.
Long runner bean and the what? Gigantic.
It says, and the other runner beans.
Yeah.
It's quiet without Steve, isn't it?
Steve C. Got him. Anybody got any anything going? I.e. any photos you can bung in for next week?
Yeah.
You're getting short of gumph now.
Okay.
Can send a few, Mick, on the polytunnel and that for preparation work.
Anything or just just one little thing might help somebody out.
Yeah, I've just got a few saved up, Mick.
Good man. Brilliant, Scott.
Either next week or the week after, whichever you want to do.
Yeah, good man.
Nick, can I speak to you, Dave?
Yes, mate.
You gave me the leek. I've cut it in half, as you said, and I've got it about 15 inches high now, still flowering. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't know if Nick could hear me then. I don't know whether.
Sorry, what was the question?
It's Dave speaking.
Hi, Dave.
All right. I did what you said about the leek. I cut it in half and rerouted it, and it's flowered. It's about 15 inches high now. So is that on the right?
It's flowered.
Well,
flowered, it's grown.
It's grown 15.
Oh,
it's grown 15.
I was going to say.
Sorry,
So
yeah.
you cut the leek in half, have you?
Yeah, yeah.
Put it in a pot.
Yeah, planted it. Yeah.
Okay. Don't
And,
overwater it. Leave it in a cold greenhouse and just leave
Yeah.
it alone.
Yeah. I say it's 15 inches high now.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm on the right track then.
Yeah, just leave it alone. Cold greenhouse is fine. Just keep it moist. If you see
Yeah.
roots coming out the bottom, don't worry about it. Leave it.
Yeah.
Springtime, it will fire away, and either put it into a bigger pot.
I've just kept it fairly damp, but like you say, don't overwater.
Yeah, and any leaves on the outside that are looking like they're rotting.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, they're going a bit droopy and dropping
Yeah,
off.
if you've got any outer leaves, just take them off and pull them. If you pull the soil away from where the stem goes in, pull it away, right the way down to the root plate, and just pull them
Right.
away. Leave it over winter; it'll be fine.
Okay, lovely. Right, thank you very much. Thank you.
That's brilliant.
Someone go over how you get the pips, please, on the onions.
How'd you get the pips?
Yeah, the pips. I didn't quite understand it last week.
Okay, so what happens is, what it says, and you put an onion in a pot, for the second year, that onion will
for the second year.
Yeah, so you've got an onion bulb.
Yeah.
You see that thing behind me
Yeah.
in the picture?
Yeah.
That will mature. It's like an onion you buy from a supermarket or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
Any onion. If you wait till around, if you can, if it doesn't start to rot, which are the problems I get. So if you've got a supermarket onion and put that into a pot of soil around Christmas time,
right?
Put that in. That will send a load of roots down from the bottom of the onion, where originally the roots were. It will send a load of roots down, and what happens then? At the end, the reason we do it at sort of Christmas time is when the shortest day is.
Right,
so the onion knows that the light is starting to pick up. It temperature, and that triggers. It sends a load of leaves up from each ring of the onion.
Right. Okay.
Because that's how an onion grows anyway. Each leaf is a ring. It will then, the second year is biannual, so it takes 2 years to produce seed. So it will send a big long stalk, like that.
Like the scapes, yeah.
And produce a flower head.
Right.
Yeah, it's gone.
The flower head
will
produce loads and loads of flowers.
Yeah.
Each one of those flowers, there's 4 seeds in each flower.
Right.
Right. So if you cut, as it starts to flower, if you cut them away near the base, the actual each segment of the onion head will produce a little like bobby thing that I showed you earlier.
So you cut the little flowers off.
Yeah. Cut them off.
Right, and then that will shoot up the pips.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Not always. Doesn't always work, but it does. But
And does it have to be? Does it have to be like a supermarket onion, or can it be any onion?
Any onion.
Any onion.
Yeah, any onion.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And what you do, you let those pips grow, and they can produce things as big as your thumb, as big as your finger. Excuse me. And as big as your,
Nothing.
can produce. The smaller the onion, the smaller the pips. But I've always learned the smaller the pips, the better they are, and that's a complete 100% genetic of the mother of the parent plant, because it hasn't been cross-pollinated.
So how comes they all come out different then? If they've all come from the same onion?
Well, as in a seed?
The pips. You're saying that they if you've got like a big pip, you'll get a big onion.
Yeah, well they do, because I don't know why it's just the same genetics. I think the early pips, what happens is the early pips has got more. You tend to get the pips a bit later on in the season, sort of July, August time.
So it takes right until then, from putting it in December, it takes all the way till then to get the pips.
Yeah. From December,
right, okay.
it's September, August, September before you get seed or pips.
And to do it in the greenhouse, I'm assuming.
I do mine in my polytunnel.
Yeah.
You can do it outside.
Or I'll just do it in the greenhouse if you use
or outside, it doesn't matter. The only difference between what I do is if I've got a big onion, I don't know, whatever size it is, but I don't want to cross pollinate with another onion, I don't mix it with a smaller onion. Yeah.
So you'd really want to cover it up then on the top.
No, cross pollination is fine. If I cross a I don't know, a courgette flower with an onion, it's not going to matter. But if it's the same family, then you can cross.
I'm just thinking of bees. Yeah, if bees come into it, if bees start.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to cross a 10-pound onion head with a 5-pound onion head, because you probably end up cross pollination. You wouldn't have a true.
You'll have a 7.5 onion.
Well, might be. I don't know. Might be a 20-pound one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay then. Thanks.
No worries, sir.
That makes a bit more sense than last week.
Sorry about that.
Well,
it's probably me
it's for
explaining
me.
it.
No, it's for me. No, I understood it better.
Okay, Steve, send the message, mate. Muddy Boots is worth a purr. He's put on. Right, there's loads of seeds left, meaning when this goes on YouTube, if anybody's interested, then just email me. And obviously, I've got to get rid of them. The only one thing I've run out of is the long runner beans. You got any spare of them, Nick?
Yeah, give me a shout near the time before I come to Birmingham, and I'll bring them up.
Yeah, okay, mate.
Yeah, just remind me.
Pop a beer in Birmingham and Nick.
We'll see.
Dave, you all ready for next Thursday?
It's not next Thursday, it's the Thursday after, isn't it?
Thursday, yeah.
Thursday after all. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Wait to see my shirt, Nick. Well, cracking shirt. You'll love it.
Nick, just to get it right, it is the 4th of November.
Yeah.
Nick, Nick, are you coming with your thong on? That'll be interesting.
I'm going to drive off in mine.
I shall wear it as an eye patch. Cheers, Andy.
Did Graham get back to you, Mick, or not?
No, just give him
okay.
Just remind him, say you'll pick him up or whatever.
Yeah, I'll send him a message.
Good man.
Right.
Okay then, people.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.
See you all next week.
Right.
Good orbit.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Take care, everybody.